One of the things that you said we really liked.
This was a direct quote.
Direct quote. Okay. Buying a home is one of the dumbest effing things a human can do with their money.
When we see that as like, that's one of the ways that people build wealth. Like a vast majority of people is when they buy their house, right?
Okay. You don't build wealth like that.
Okay. Expand.
Okay. So Orange County, average home here is $800,000. Vegas is going to be 450, maybe 490. Okay, so what you're going to build? You're going to go buy a house for $500,000 in Las Vegas, $800,000 in Orange County. You're going to put 20% down.
20% down, 15, 20.
You're going to put $160,000. I'll do math on both of them. $160,000 here in Orange County, and you're going to put down $100,000 over there. That money's dead. That money could have been put in yourself. Just the down payment you could have invested in yourself, in your business. There's not a business or an individual that can't produce more revenue than a single family home sitting on 22nd Street, okay? It just sits there. The only thing worse than investing in a house is giving money to the bank and letting them have it, okay? The bank benefits, particularly in this environment today, Bank of America is going to charge you 8% for 10 years. Let's say you stay in that house for 10 years. You're in Vegas, okay? You paid $500, okay? You put a loan on it. You put 8% on $400,000. That's $32,000 a year. Times 10 is $320. That's your interest on the first 10 years. So you need to sell your house for $500 plus $320 to break even. You haven't paid property taxes, maintenance, nor have you counted the fact that your $100,000 was dead. It could have been invested in something else. I'm just saying, compared to other investments, S&P 500, okay?
I think what's difficult today is that what you're saying right now makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And I agree with you completely. I think right now is one of the few times, just financially speaking, I don't see the benefit of buying anything right now. The last property I bought was in 2020 because interest rates are so high. When I look at the cost of buying versus renting, renting is like half the price.
Nationwide.
It's insane. So when I look at the two, I'm like, why buy a house right now? It doesn't make any sense financially unless you plan to live there for 30 years. But as a general saying, I think for me 10 years ago, I would have said buy something. I think for a lot of people, it's a savings account. But right now, it's kind of skewed, I feel.
Yeah.
But I think for
How many people do you know have ever kept a house 30 years?
Some of the investors I used to work with. And what they would do is they'd buy a house, fix it up, move in themselves, live there 5-10 years, keep that as a rental, then move on to the next one and repeat the process. Maybe every 5-10 years, they'll buy a house. And 30 years, they have a few houses. So that's been my experience. It's not a good investment, man.
It's not. It's period. You'd be better off buying YouTube ads.
I think
you'll make more money on your YouTube channel than you will on this house appreciating. This house,
right? But if you look at the success and failure rates of people that will try to do something like that,
you discount the fact that there's 40 million people in America lost money on the house between 2005 and 2012. 40 million.
But that's only if they sold.
Well, dude, they had to sell. They couldn't. There's still millions of homes on foreclosures. We forget all this stuff. You forget. CNBC makes sure that everybody forgets all the losses in the stock market every day. We forget about bank failures. We've had 3 major bank failures just 16 months ago. We had the biggest bank failure in the history of the United States, and everybody's forgot it like it didn't even happen.
I think a lot of that is really just bailouts, but those losses are only realized if people sell. Now, I know on paper, obviously, if you buy in 2005, you've lost a substantial amount of money in 2011. But for those people who held, today, they're still sitting on quite a lot of profit.
Right.
Maybe not as much as in stocks or other investments.
It's not a good investment, though.
I think the argument is that people have to live somewhere.
For the average person, that's what I'm trying to get at. Because if you look at, like I said, real data of the people that the #1 wealth builder is your primary home, and then you compare that to the data that shows that, I don't know what percent it is, but I'm sure it's some exorbitant percent of business owners fail, right?
Yeah.
Then, and you compare the two, and you're like, you should always be a business owner when the data is suggesting otherwise. Wouldn't that make sense that for the average person that maybe doesn't have the discipline, that maybe doesn't have like the motivation to continue pushing with a business and perseverance?
Because they're being told a bunch of bullshit like, hey, buy a house. Buy a house and one day you're going to be fine. Invest in an IRA, you're going to be fine. Get a 401k, contribute as much as you can. You're going to be fine. One day you're going to be fine. Social Security is going to take care of you. People are being told a bunch of lies and then they lay down and say, it's going to be fine. They said, I'm going to be fine. If I just do these things, I'm going to be all right. If I buy a house, I'm going to be all right. But we know that most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, have less than $5,200 in a savings account, Okay, their IRA will not take care of them at retirement. Social Security is going to fail in this country. In your lifetimes, it will fail. Okay, the US dollar is likely to fail. People know it, yet they save it. So the reason people don't hustle is because they've been told by the government, you guys are cool. You're in the middle class, you got a good job, you got air conditioning, you got your little latte, okay? You deserve happiness, okay? You got your Whole Foods account. And we might relieve your college. You got a college education, so you're better educated than most people. You got a car mortgage, like you freaking strapped up to here. You got 30% of people like failing on 33% of the American public today got a second job because they can't fund their activities. You got car delinquencies going through the roof at the all-time highs. Credit card debt, highest ever. So whatever everybody's been told ain't working for most of these people. These average people that you're talking about.
So you're saying that people should, instead of going down the more traditional route that could be more safe, but also subject to other external things, such as like the government and the stability of the dollar, you think people should go for broke? Like go for broke, meaning like, you know, shoot for the moon, and then if you miss, you're just in outer space somewhere, right? With nothing. You'd say that is a optimal, just fundamentally.
You could literally go for broke.
That is the better
and you would
decision.
be rewarded in this country. You could go for broke. You cannot go to jail going for broke, but you can play it safe and almost guarantee you will end up broke.
I agree that you should, that a lot of people should go for broke when they don't.
Yeah.
But with the stipulation, with the caveat that if you miss, that you continue trying and trying and trying and trying and trying and trying.
Yeah.
And I think that's extremely important to include that. And that's why so many businesses fail, because they try, it fails, and then they go to some, like, you know, a more stable thing where they're not a business owner or something like that. Or why 99% of day traders lose is because they just try it, they lose money, and they're like, I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to continue trying and learning.
That's a stupid business.
No, I'm just saying like why these fringe things are so
the
unsuccessful.
Get rich quick always fails.
Exactly.
So
business owning is also, I mean, it kind of is marketed in the same way of like, hey, you're going to be able to work from your laptop and you're going to be able to drop ship and this and that and make a bunch of money in your first year. And I think that it's really important to include that caveat that like, you're likely not going to be successful for a long time, and you just have to push through all of that. And then I agree with you. I think that a lot of people could go that route, but for the average person, if we're looking at all available data, they are better off. This is what I would say, doing that. If they don't have doing the stable thing and working as
I think
an
the average person
employee
is
of
better
something.
off going to work for somebody else than themselves.
Right. And I would agree. But if they have the perseverance and motivation, then they could do the business owning route, but they just better be ready to weather the storm. You know?
I think statistics on that, only 20% of business owners make more than a W-2 employee.
That's right.
And they work way more hours.
Yeah,
but I do think they
Mm-hmm.
could be successful. That small, you know, people that are successful, I think it could be bigger if they just don't give up and they learn from their failures rather than like let it absorb them, and then they go to something more stable because they're so shied away from it.
But what about
last thing on the house though? Elon owns no houses. Warren Buffett has the same house he always has. The point is, they didn't try to create wealth in this fixed asset class that does not cash flow, does not provide great tax write-offs. And historically, over the last 50 years, I don't know why people get so upset with me on this house thing, because it's just not a great deal. But as opposed to, now if you're not going to do anything, if you're just going to get a job, save some money, and just be a renter for the rest of your life, and you're going to stay in the same place forever, and you know that, just make sure you're buying in a great marketplace where there's going to be positive job growth. Only about 10% of America, there's about 10 cities in America where 90% of all the people live. The rest of these places where people live are never going to go up in value.
I think we all fundamentally agree on this once we're kind of understanding the other person's position to the full extent.
And once we get through this inflation issue that's being fabricated right now, we're going to, on the other side of this is going to be massive deflation.
So that leads us perfectly. You also said, Lewis Howes, man, here we go. Inflation is a boogeyman. It isn't real.
You said that on Lewis Howes.
Why is inflation not real?
This episode is in partnership with Airbnb. So Graham and I just wrapped up a trip. We were in Austin for a few days. We filmed episodes with Togi, Chris Camillo, and Caleb Hammer. And honestly, every time we're on the road, we're staying at homes on Airbnb. It's just become the default.
And here's the thing most people don't think about. When you're the one traveling, your place back home is just sitting there empty. And that's a real missed opportunity.
Whether you're gone for a long weekend or a few weeks, you can list your space on Airbnb and let it work for you while you're away.
If you've ever thought about hosting but weren't sure how to manage everything from the road, Airbnb now has the co-host network. You can connect with a vetted local co-host who has real hosting experience and can take care of the day-to-day for you.
A co-host can manage reservations, handle guest communication, and even provide on-site support so you don't have to think about it while you're traveling.
So instead of your home sitting empty, you could be generating some extra cash, whether that helps you cover the next trip, your flights, or just goes towards something that you've been putting off at home.
I actually listed a spare room in my house on Airbnb, and I was genuinely so surprised how easy it was to set up, how seamless the entire process was, and it actually made me some pretty good money. I would actually recommend this to anyone out there that wants to make a little extra cash on the side. It's honestly phenomenal. If you're thinking about hosting but want some help getting started, find a co-host at airbnb.com/host.
Why is inflation not real?
Because you can't really measure it, right? You can measure it at the store and say eggs are too much, but I could absolutely control that by not buying eggs. Inflation was caused by the supply chains being blocked during COVID, not because money was too cheap. If I print, and your audience is going to go bonkers on this.
We'll love this.
Okay, they're going to go bonkers. So when you print $1 trillion, we put $1 trillion in this big building right here, which I don't think it would fit. We have not created, because of printing, inflation. Now, I could be wrong on this, but this is my hypothesis. Printing money does not create inflation. Now, I distribute the trillion, because if I haven't distributed, nobody knows anything happened, right? Now, I distribute, and the three of us each get 1/3 of $1 trillion.
I would love that.
Dude, what we going to do?
You're going to buy a jet?
Yeah, I'll buy a jet.
Okay.
You could buy 10 planes.
Maybe a nicer microphone if I really want to splurge, right?
Yeah, you can buy a media company. You could buy CNN now, bro. Okay, like to think just
right.
Okay, so we distribute to the three of us, but none of us spend our money. We still don't have inflation. Inflation only happens when people start using the money. Okay, now if we go invest in countries, because we got enough money now to buy countries, the entire state of Hawaii. Okay. We inflate those little markets, those little pockets, but we don't inflate the whole world. Now, when you distribute money to every idiot on the planet, okay, $1,400, and every idiot says, God damn, I got to spend this money. I deserve a house. I deserve some Gucci's. Even though it's COVID and I can't even use my Gucci's except in my living room. And if I go any place, I got to be 6 feet from somebody else. That's how you cause inflation. You give idiots money to go do dumb shit with, and that's what they did. People did dumb shit with money. They inflated the cost of everything. People raised their prices, and you guys kept going back and buying stuff. But with the moment the demand for anything stops, when the demand stops, prices will fall. But consumers continue to demand that they deserved great microphones.
But wouldn't it be a leading indicator, right? Like when, rates are going up, then a business that maybe sells some sort of product or service, they're like, well, people are going to have more money. I'm going to change prices maybe before the commerce actually starts coming in.
But they don't.
You're saying
most businesses, man, they're just trying to hang on.
The price follows suit after the demand. You can't change the price before the.
Well, you had to have the demand first. You don't, the price doesn't change pre-demand. You get demand, you don't trust it. Demand hits again, you don't trust it. Demand happens again. Oh, that was a fluke. It was a weekend. Boom, then it's demand, and then you're like, shit, I'm out of inventory. Okay, guys, I'm gonna send you 10 more sets of whatever, basketballs. Okay, and you have orders for 50 of them. You're like, shit, raise the price on those 10 basketballs. But most businesses lag when they actually respond to a demand curve. Okay?
But I think that inflation is sure, it's real to the people that are working the stable job, right? And then all of a sudden they see the price of eggs, it increases in the grocery store.
All you have to do is not buy the eggs.
I think it's difficult not to buy the eggs when everything else is also costing more. Let's just say gasoline. Okay. It could be your utilities cost more. Everything else in your daily life that you need, those constants are costing more.
And some people would say oil and gas and electricity could be, like my brother would tell you, all of it should be way more expensive. Because if it was, you guys wouldn't be burning all these lights in here. So all this stuff, all this electricity going on behind us is too cheap. Otherwise, they turn them off. Again, it's a demand thing. I'm willing to pay this price. Now, alongside with that, goddamn eggs are too much, beans are too much. Okay, but why do you keep complaining and keep buying? And that's what causes inflation.
So what do you think is going to happen? Do you think eventually prices are going to rise to a point where they have to come back down?
There. We're already on the other side of inflation. We already see it. We see it in mortgage applications. You see it in prices of goods. Inventory is sitting in car dealerships for longer than it ever has at levels that they haven't seen. I have a bunch of friends in the car business. You're seeing houses not trade now. Mortgage applications at 28-year lows. I mean, if you want to talk about who's causing damage, is Jerome Powell raising interest rates to 8%, and stopping all that activity, all those mortgage brokers, that title clerks, escrow companies that need that money and that activity. You're making it impossible for people to buy a home today.
So how are you using this as an opportunity to make moves?
We're buying every piece of real estate that we can buy that cash flows right now with no debt.
So how have you positioned your portfolio to weather a potential storm if prices continue to drop or interest rates continue to go higher? Like for your existing loans, let's just say.
Yeah.
Are those...
We have 39 loans.
Sure.
We have 5 of those loans. 32 of the loans have 10-year mortgages. We have 5 loans that have adjustables through 20, what are we in, 23? Through 25 2-year extensions. Those will have to be fixed. It's 15% of the entire portfolio. So, I mean, I have it charted out exactly what I'll have to fund to fix all that. It will. There's an old adage, Nathan Rothschild, I think, said, when there's blood in the street, buy, comma, even when it's your own blood. So we expect to, we have 12,000 apartments right now. We expect to double that portfolio in this cycle, maybe in the next 6 months.
Do you worry, though, about interest rates resetting at a higher amount while at the same time rents are falling? Or you believe that rents will continue to go even higher?
I think rents will flatten. I think rents flatten for the next 2 years. 24, 25, you'll have flat rents. And then in 26, because they're not going to build anything, they'll stop all building, all construction. This happened again in 2008, 9, and 10. We're 4 million homes short in America today. We're probably another 40 million homes that nobody wants because they're old homes. They're your mom's and grandma's house. Nobody wants to move into them. And in 26, 27, rents will explode in this country. The $1,900 rent that people are complaining about will be $4,000.
See, my thought is that home prices will eventually come down to a point where all of a sudden they make sense to buy again. When rents and home prices are about even and someone could say, okay, I know I'm going to be here for 8 years. Therefore, based on this trajectory, I think buying makes more sense. Yeah. And that's where I feel like the demand has to go.
Yeah, I think we take that $800,000 house in Orange County or the one in Vegas, the one you bought, that you regret now.
I actually do not regret. I think it was a fantastic.
Jack locked in a good rate.
2.874% on the mortgage, 30 years fixed.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. You're going to rent that to somebody.
I'm renting it. Well, I'm renting out 4 rooms as we speak.
Jack is cash flowing this place.
Let's go, man. Cash flow, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
How stupid can you go?
He gets to live there for free.
You can go stupid as your cash flow. That's the game, dude.
It's pretty stupid. He's got a ping pong table in the living room.
Yeah, that's awesome. That $500,000 house here or in Vegas has to go down probably to like $350,000, and the rates have to drop for him to even compete with an apartment deal down the street. And even when that happens, let's say they become equals, $2,000 and $2,000 rent or mortgage. One requires a down payment, the other one doesn't. One requires a 30-year commitment, one requires a 10-month commitment, and one of them does not have a swimming pool, does not have security, does not have a theater, and the other one, because these are the apartments that are being built today, these are freaking unbelievable communities. Theater, parking, structure, social audience, community, like built-in 300 families living around you that are hopefully not crazy people. So we see a lot of people, like in Boca, we bought a deal in Boca. The average tenant in the building makes $400,000. Okay, their rent to income ratio is under 14%. They could buy a house. All of them could buy a house, but they don't want it. They're like, I don't want a house. I don't want to mow a lawn. I don't want to clean the pool. I don't want to fix the billiards, the table tennis, whatever. I just want to do my thing, pay my rent, and be mobile, go on vacation. 75 million baby boomers in this country don't want a house. People my age aren't looking to buy a house.